Did you know that you don't need a lawyer to file a divorce in Australia? In this episode, I'll be having a conversation with Jenny from the Community Legal Education team at Legal Aid New South Wales all about our new free resource, Do Your Own Divorce. This recording is taking place on the lands of the Gadigal people, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. As we share in learning today, may we recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first educators, storytellers and creators on the lands we're all listening from today. Welcome to Law for Community Workers. My name is Yasmin and I'm joined by my solicitor, Jenny. We are both in the Community Legal Education team at Legal Aid New South Wales and worked on bringing Do Your Own Divorce to life. So Jenny, I'm really excited to talk about Do Your Own Divorce, but firstly, could you explain to our listeners what Do Your Own Divorce actually is?
Thanks, Yasmin. So Do Your Own Divorce is a web page and it has all the information that people need to complete their divorce application online. So we refer to it as a guide because that's what it is. It's a step-by-step interactive guide. And it features videos, checklists, and also resources to help people fill out their online divorce form.
Right. So when you say the online divorce form, we're talking about the court's online form. Is that right?
Yes. So to do a divorce in Australia, you have to complete an online form through the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia. That's a bit of a mouthful, but that's the court's name. So you might also hear it referred to as FCOA. So there's a lot of parts to that divorce form, and there's different things to do depending on people's individual situations. For example, some people might need to translate a marriage certificate, or other people might need extra documents if they're living together in the same house while they were separated. So it's really important that people understand what documents they need to prepare and also what the court needs to know. And that's where Do Your Own Divorce comes in.
Okay, so you have the court's website where you actually fill out your divorce form. Then you have the Do Your Own Divorce website that shows you how to actually complete the form and answer any questions you have about the divorce form and the process. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, it sounds complicated, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. So the divorce application is done through what's called the Commonwealth Courts portal, and you get to that via the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia website. So that portal's like a little bit like an online mailbox where you store all your files and you look at the progress of your case. So the resource of Do Your Own Divorce is on a separate website, so you can have both of those websites up, the court's one and our guide, while you're navigating through your form.
Okay, that sounds doable. And can Do Your Own Divorce be accessed on a mobile phone?
Yes, definitely. So Do Your Own Divorce can be accessed on a mobile phone or any other tablet or computer device. But keep in mind that people cannot use a mobile phone to file their divorce application form. So people need to use a laptop or desktop computer to actually work through and submit their online form. Also, people can use their local library if they want to get access to a bigger screen than they have. Sometimes you might need to book that.
Awesome. So you can have the form up on your computer or laptop while scrolling through Do Your Own Divorce on your phone, or you can open a new tab or window or even split your screen if you're just using a laptop or desktop computer.
Yep, that's right.
Great. Thanks, Jenny. And is Do Your Own Divorce a free resource?
Yes, it's completely free and you don't even have to sign up to use it. You simply go to the web page and all the information is there. And you can start and come back to it at any time and it will remember where you left off. Just be aware too that some online promotions will charge you for a divorce, and just be particularly aware of ones where you might only just be getting the paperwork you would have got from the court anyway.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jenny. I have noticed on Google, if you just, type in how to do your divorce in Australia, you get given all these websites and it seems like they're free and they're going to give you free information. But then you go in and actually try and get the information you want and they end up charging a fee. And usually it's just for simple information that already is on the court's website. So just be mindful to look out for that and make sure you're using the right resources.
Yeah, it can be a problem for people. But just one more thing about the costs. Keep in mind that the divorce application is free, but there is a court filing fee, and everyone has to pay that fee, although some people might be eligible for a reduced fee.
And how much is that fee?
The fees change every year. At the moment, as of August 2025, the full fee is $1,125 and the reduced fee is $375. It's really important to ring the court or check the court's website.
Thanks, Jenny. And we'll put a link to where you can find the latest fee and the eligibility requirements for the reduced fee in the show notes. We'll also find it linked in the online guide. So, Jenny, who is Do Your Own Divorce best suited for?
So, Do Your Own Divorce is useful for people who might not be eligible for free legal advice about divorce, but who want to explore doing their divorce themselves. So, it is generally best for people who have reasonable literacy and computer skills. We want to be really clear that it's not suitable for everybody. And we want to encourage vulnerable people who can actually get access to free legal advice that they don't have to use the guide. There are other resources and places they can go for help. So there's a section at the beginning of the guide that helps people work out the best resource for them.
So what would be some examples where the Do Your Own Divorce resource may not be suitable?
So examples where people might need some extra legal help are if they're worried about their safety or their risk of violence, or if they need an interpreter. Also, if someone needs extra help with technology or completing forms or help using the internet.
Okay, that's really great to keep in mind. And again, that section at the beginning of the guide will assist people to determine if it is right for their situation and direct them to get further help. And that section of the guide is called Can I Do My Divorce Without Legal Help? So, Jenny, this podcast is for community workers. Would they be able to use this guide to help their clients who may need to file a divorce?
Yes, absolutely. And we really encourage community workers to use the guide to help people that they work with. We've created a toolkit for community workers that includes a video, a pictorial and a FAQ about how to use the guide to support their clients. And this also includes downloadable posters, postcards and social media tiles for community organisations to help us spread the word about the guide.
That sounds fantastic, and we'll put a link to that webpage for community workers in the show notes of this episode. And I should also add, if people listening want us to send posters and postcards to their organisation or community group, get in touch with us at cle@legalaid.nsw.gov.au and we'll send you some for free. And I'll put that info in the show notes also. Importantly, Jenny, I will also put in the show notes the direct link to Do Your Own Divorce, and the URL to type into your internet browser on your phone or computer is info.legalaid.nsw.gov.au/divorce guide. And again, info.legalaid.nsw.gov.au/divorce guide, and make sure you check the show notes for that direct link. Now, Jenny, are there any other ways people can access Do Your Own Divorce?
The other way is through the Legal Aid New South Wales website, and if you go to the site under the heading My Problem Is About, you can click My Family or Relationship and then Divorce, and it's linked under the resources at the bottom of the page. It's also able to be accessed via the court's website. So if you visit fcfoa.gov.au divorce.gov.au. On the homepage, you'll see a big green tile that says Family Law. If you click that and then Divorce, there's a link to do your own divorce at the bottom of the page.
Great. So a lot of different ways that people can find the resource. Now, Jenny, we know there's a lot of misinformation out there about divorce. So I want to run through some rapid fire questions and bust some myths that are out there.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, first one. Do both people in the marriage need to agree to a divorce?
No. So the court can grant a divorce even if one person doesn't want it. There doesn't have to be a reason for it either, just the 12-month separation period and that one person believes the marriage is over.
Great. Does divorce deal with finances or property?
No, a divorce only legally ends a marriage. So it doesn't deal with any arrangements for property, finances, child support, kids, anything like that. Those are all separate steps. There's an online resource that can help with that called Amica, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. It is important to know that there's a 12-month time limit once your divorce is finalised to start a property settlement in the court or apply for financial support from your spouse.
Okay, thanks. That's really important for community workers listening who may be assisting someone with applying for a divorce, to highlight that it is a separate process and to remember that 12-month time limit if they need to go to court to deal with property and finances. And I think you also mentioned children. What about arrangements for children?
Yes, that's also a separate process, but there's no time limits on anything to do with children. But a divorce order will not make any decisions about arrangements for children. So, for example, there'll be no decisions through the divorce process about where they live or who they spend time with or who pays for them. However, the court still wants to know that any children under 18 will be cared for after the divorce. And there are questions in the divorce application about arrangements for children. If the court is concerned about a child's welfare, they may delay the divorce and ask you to provide some more information.
Okay, so do you need a lawyer to do your divorce?
For most simple divorces in Australia, you don't need a lawyer. There are some situations where we do recommend that people get legal advice, and that's indicated throughout the Do Your Own Divorce Guide. However, you'll definitely need a Justice of the Peace to sign your documents, so keep that in mind. There are free JP services linked into the resource as well.
So what are some of those situations where people may need to speak to a lawyer?
We recommend that people get some legal advice if they don't have all of the information or the documents that the court asks for. So some examples might be where they can't find their spouse or they can't get their marriage certificate. All of that depends on people's individual situations. We also recommend talking to a lawyer if someone is worried about the information they're putting into the form or if they're concerned about their safety in any way. It's really important that those people chat to a lawyer before they submit or file anything, as it might not be able to be changed later.
Right, so I guess if people are concerned if they don't have the right document that is needed, or if they're worried about, say, the separation period, or what you said about the conflict with the spouse, or if they feel unsafe, definitely seek legal support, and there is information in the guide about how to do that. And of course, community workers can also help their clients get that legal support. So does an applicant need to go to court or attend some kind of hearing?
Yep, there is a hearing, but it's conducted electronically and not everyone has to attend. So once someone files their application and it's been processed by the court, they'll receive their hearing date. And whether they need to go or not can depend on the complexity of their case, whether their spouse disputes the information they've written in the application form, or if there's been an issue serving any of the documents. We've included information about when someone needs to go to the hearing in the guide, and that information is also available on the court's website. If people don't go to their hearing, the registrar reads through the papers and the documents and issues the divorce order.
So when does that divorce order become final?
So the divorce becomes final a month and a day after that hearing date. But in that month and a day, you can't get married. You have to wait till that divorce order becomes final.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Jenny. And if there's any final tips you could give community workers who may be helping someone fill out their divorce application, what would those be?
Just keep in mind that when people talk about divorce, they might mean everything to do with separation. For example, who sees the kids, child support, their finances. But in family law, as we've said before, divorce is just the end of a marriage, and people might need separate information about all those other things. So see the show notes about where you can refer people for all the other information they need. Also, be mindful that both parties in a marriage will see the information in the forms, because the divorce form has to be given to your spouse, the other party. So it's important that applicants don't write anything that they don't want their spouse to see. If they're unsure or feel unsafe, make sure to get legal advice. Also, if people are worried about their safety, make sure they fill out the part of the form where addresses and contact details will not be disclosed. And people are also encouraged to contact the court about any safety concerns. And just to keep in mind that the court is a really useful resource itself. There's a live chat function on the court's website and a telephone number you can ring to ask questions about the divorce form. And just lastly, I want to just emphasise about time limits. People often think that the divorce includes settling the property and finances, and as we've said, that's a separate process, and people only have 12 months after their divorce is finalised to start that process.
Fantastic. Really important tips for community workers about divorce. Thanks so much for chatting with me, Jenny.
Thanks so much, Yasmin.
That's all for this episode. Don't forget to follow our podcast to stay updated on when new episodes are released. You can also subscribe to our Law for Community Workers alerts to receive updates about webinars, training, and resources straight to your inbox. Link in the show notes. As always, if you have any feedback about our podcast or want to suggest a legal topic, email us at cle@legalaid.nsw.gov.au. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next time.